Welcome to Experiments in Leadership, practical insights for Caribbean business leaders. Hi, I'm Anthony Subera and welcome back to Experiments in Leadership and to another episode in our Cyber Resilience series for Caribbean business leaders. Today we are unpacking a pattern that is very much alive right now, of which every business leader needs to understand. And that is, cyber criminals do not thrive on technology. They also thrive on chaos. And this reality will impact your staff, customers, and the third parties your systems interface with. Now, allow me to expand a bit on this. Now, based on my many years in this cybersecurity business, most leaders assume cybercrime increases because of the technology evolution. Tools are getting much more sophisticated. And then, of course, our defenses lag behind with the conversation that the attacker is always 2 steps ahead. And while these assumptions hold merit, they are in fact not the only real drivers. You see, another significant accelerant is called chaos. Because chaos does not destabilize systems first. It destabilizes people. And what exactly do I mean by this? Well, during periods of uncertainty, whether it's global, regional, or even organizational, 4 things happen inside organizations. The first one is cognitive overload. Too many decisions, not enough mental bandwidth. Urgency bias. Speed feels more important than accuracy. Authority bias, messages that look official from government, the customer, bosses, they tend to be trusted faster. And then, of course, verification fatigue, where people stop double-checking to keep things moving, basically trying not to impact customer service. These are not failures. They are normal human responses under pressure. You see, attackers do not guess. They engineer their attacks to optimize these human responses. So, they deliberately create fake emergency notices, executive impersonation messages or emails with an urgent request to change username and passwords, payment-related urgency, where a client needs a wire transfer to be done, but it must be done before end of day, and then well-designed messaging linked to real-world events that can trigger anxiety. And of course, these attack vectors are AI-enabled, presenting an almost human touch and feel to them. For the attacker, the goal is simple. Trigger emotion that compress time, that bypass our logic, that ultimately give access to our systems. You see, when the brain feels unsafe, it prioritizes action over analysis. And this is why cyber attacks surge during global crises, pandemics, economic uncertainty, organizational change, whether it's mergers, restructures, layoffs, rapid growth, or even digital transformation. It's not because people suddenly become careless. It's because decision environments degrade faster than the controls can adapt. And we saw this clearly during COVID. In March 2020 alone, phishing attacks reportedly surged by over 600%. That period from 2019 to 2020 became one of the most impactful in history for cybercrime, with reported losses of $4.2 billion. That's a lot of money. So, as leaders, what do we do moving forward? But I want to tackle this from a different angle. I want to say, what do we get wrong sometimes? Well, one is in our response to chaos. Because we often say, our people need more training, or we must warn staff to be much more careful. And then, of course, let's ensure we send more advisories and make sure it's done every month, every quarter. But unfortunately, raising awareness alone does not fix chaos, because the issue is not really knowledge. It is the ability to operate effectively and consistently under challenging conditions. Therefore, as business leaders, we should not be asking, how do we stop people from making mistakes? The The real question must be, how do we design our systems that remain safe when people are under pressure? This to me is a shift that is needed and changes everything. It moves cyber risk from behavior management to decision environment design. So based on what I just shared, I would like to recommend some practical guidance for us leaders to follow. The first one is, when you have a lot of information and viruses coming to you, slow down a bit and verify the source and verify the relevance. Adopt a critical, rethinking, and collaborative approach to ensure you make the best risk-informed decision. Number 2, reduce single-point failure actions by implementing a zero-trust framework where we design and implement our controls with a never trust, always verify objective. Number 3, limit the impact of inevitable human mistakes through more effective processes. Number 4, clarify authority and escalation tracks. For example, if you're under attack, who declares that you are in fact under attack? And who gives the approval to kick in your incident response plan? And lastly, rehearse decisions before pressure arrives. For example, what is the company's position on ransom payments? Will you pay or not pay? Who are the external parties that you need to support your incident response plan? Those parties need to be identified, included in the plan, and tested to make sure the plan works effectively. What level of communication is needed for staff, customers, media, and in some cases, regulators? I always recommend with your comms plan, always ensure that your messaging is transparent, clear, precise, and must always exhibit control over the situation. All right. Always remember, cyber resilience is not built when things are calm, but it must be designed and tested before the chaos shows up. All right. This is our 4th episode in our series, and I really would like to close off this episode with a bit of reflection, because moments like these, in terms of the current regional and global challenges that we are all facing, for me, calls for collective leadership, not just raising awareness. And there is a long-standing Caribbean truth that says, when we stand alone, we are vulnerable. But when we act together, we are powerful. And we believe this holds true more than ever. While cyber criminals thrive in chaos, we as Caribbean leaders must strive towards regional preparation. Because cyber resilience is no longer just an organizational issue or even a sovereign issue by country. It's a regional responsibility. A cyber resilient Caribbean will not be built by one leader, a company, association, or even for one country acting in isolation. It will be built through visionary, calm, risk-intelligent leadership, regional standards with defined objectives, information sharing, continuous improvement, because as a region we will make mistakes, but we're going to learn from them and move on. And of course, collective vigilance. And at Stratos, we strongly believe this collective effort is needed to ensure and secure the Caribbean's digital future. And we will continue to contribute towards this goal as best as we can. Now, the good news is we are not the only ones. I've had a very insightful and encouraging meeting with the chairman of the Caribbean Data Center Association, and he shared their ongoing commitment towards infrastructure resilience across the region. Caribbean leaders, cyber resilience is a team sport, and we need this collective approach to protect the Caribbean. All right. That's it for today. Thank you so much for spending some time with us. I'm Anthony Subero. Until next time, take good care. Hi. If this episode brought any value to you, we kindly ask you share it with others. If you need help on your cyber resilience journey, you can find us on www.stratos-cyber.com. Until we meet again, keep well.